FM 94, The Dark. It is that time again. It's time to get to know a band we play here on The Dark. And tonight on the phone, I'm talking with John Francis. He's the lead vocalist, lead singer of the band Punx Harmonic. And their latest song, Immaterial, is currently spinning on our airwaves. First of all, John, thanks so much for joining me. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, we want to get to know more about this band, Punx Harmonic, because obviously for us here in central Minnesota and maybe even in the Midwest, haven't really heard of this band before until my good friend Tim said, hey, you got to check out this band. You got to listen to this band. And after I heard this song, I said, damn, this is good stuff. And so we're going to play this. That's what we're doing right now. How did this band, Punx Harmonic, all come about, John?
I guess it kind of started with Stephen Lee Adams. He's the bass player, his love for music, and myself. We kind of met up in California one day, and we just kind of clicked, and having the same interest in music. Although we were kind of on two different sides of the spectrum. He was more of a punk rock, rockabilly guy. I was more rap, R&B, being on the East Coast, and we just kind of merged. We laugh about it. We kind of talk about the old Reese's peanut butter cup commercial. Your chocolate's in my peanut butter. Your peanut butter's in my chocolate.
Yep.
And that's how we kind of we met up, and just the love for music. And Steve had this riff in his head and gave it to me, and I took it and ran with it, and we had the song Immaterial, and we said at that point, we got to come up with a name here, and I don't know, it was weird. It was like Punxsutawney Phil for some reason. I don't know why. I thought, well, we got Greg aboard and stuff, punk music, Punxsutawney Phil, Punx Phil, Harmonic. We were coming up with all these crazy names, and then all of a sudden, because I do some, harmonics in my vocals, I really work on them in the chorus, the name just kind of came, Punx Harmonic.
Wow, very cool. Awesome. And I tell you what, this band, Punx Harmonic, you guys got some heavy hitters in your lineup here, don't you? When I was looking at the bio here of you guys, I'm going down and going, wow, Bad Religion, Social Distortion, and the list goes on of some of these guys that have played in other bands that are now playing on your band. That's got to be pretty cool. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I would say that was a lot. A lot of that had to do with Stephen Lee Adams, the bass player. Steve kind of knows everybody, and he just one day he connected with Greg Hetson from Bad Religion, and Greg was just real gracious, man, and offered his services to us and said, listen, man, I'll play licks for you, but it's got to be good. It's got my name on it. And we were like, don't worry about it, man. We'll take care of you. So Greg got aboard and started playing with us, little studio sessions out in California. And Derek was also involved, Derek O'Brien from Social Distortion. In fact, we actually used his studio, Derek O'Brien Studios out there. And, we just it was just kind of like a jam session. And then we sent it back over to the East Coast where I'm at, and I worked, side by side with Talib Kareem, who is from the R&B band group from the 90s, Imagine, really big top 25 Billboard charting group, done a lot of movie tracks, soundtracks, and so on. So, yeah, it just kind of came together, and they did it over there in the West. They sent it back to the East, and then I throw my little, I smack my little New York style hip hop kind of influence on there. Although I'm, kind of across the board in all genres.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously had hip hop, rap kind of a background a little bit that you liked. What kind of got you into the music side of things to start with as you were a youngster?
Well, being on, this side of the country,
right,
and rap started over here in the South Bronx. I'm right across from the Hudson in New Jersey. And, I came up with guys like Biz Markie and Marley Marl and the whole Queensbridge pop-off that, where rap kind of began, where the battles were going between Queens and Bronx.
Yep.
And as a kid, I recorded with them in the studios. And so I always had that kind of influence, that production style. If you listen to Immaterial, it's here I am playing with a bunch of guys who play rock and punk, but it kind of twists up on a kind of a pop nature, and I think that's from infusing the old school hip hop production style, which I love, and just the harmonics and layering up the tracks and just little cliche kind of choruses and hooks and stuff like that. So it kind of started there, and again we just brought it together, and lo and behold, Immaterial was born.
Yeah, I love the song Immaterial. We're talking with John Francis, lead vocalist of the band Punx Harmonic. Their latest song is Immaterial. It's a song that I can honestly say is very unique to radio. I don't think there's a lot of songs out there right now that sound like this. Like you were kind of mentioning, it's kind of a mash between R&B and rock a little bit. And I was just, when you were saying that, I was trying to picture in my head, current artists right now. Kind of has a little bit of a flair of maybe like a Bruno Mars meets a rock band and pushed it all together. Am I even giving that justice at all? Would you say that or not?
I mean, if that's how you hear it, then that's great. I mean, the thing that stands out the most is, and I appreciate your comment, where you said it's just, it's something different, it's something new, and that's the main thing. I that's what I look for when I look for comments. I saw one comment on YouTube, and it said, finally, yes, something new, something fresh, and that's what I try to do. We joke about it, but we say among ourselves, we want to make music that it's going to kind of make people mad, because we're kind of going outside the perimeters, and we want to, we don't want to do, the cookie cutter stuff. We want to, we want to do what we feel, and but at the same time, it's got to be solid. It's got to have some construction to it, and can't be all over the place. So, we battle with that when we got to create radio edits and stuff like that. But all in all, I if that's the way you hear it, that's fine. I've heard people say it sounds close to what was it? Somebody said Guns N' Roses one time. Somebody said something else.
Okay, yeah.
It's open to interpretation.
That's the beauty of music, isn't it, John? Everybody has interpretation to it. You might have a meaning of the actual song, and somebody else hears that and they think something totally different. But hey, as long as you're enjoying it and it has the meaning to you, that's all that matters, right?
Right, and that's the key. I think is the meaning of the song. I take music very serious. I think it's a very it's a powerful medium, and it gets the message across. It's like the message is in this vehicle, and the vehicle comes riding in, delivering the message. And Immaterial is one of those messages where it's not bashing our judicial system or anything like that, but it's talking about an injustice in the judicial system and how it's played out. And these are concerns of ours. It's definitely a concern of mine, and I think sometimes the better way to get the message across is through music, and that's the hope.
The one question I guess I got to ask you, and you brought this up too, and I mentioned it's different. You hear on the radio. Has it been tough to get this song played on mainstream radio, or for that matter, just commercial radio, or are you seeing it being embraced, I guess, by programmers around the United States?
Well, first of all, and you had mentioned them as well, I just want to mention Tim Binder from New Motion Media.
Yeah.
He has really, gone out there and really, put this song in the faces of radio promoters. And, it's like anything. You just got to work hard at it. We got it out there. There's some people that are just kind of, they're stuck in the format, and that's fine. And there's others that are saying, hey, this is new, this is different, we'll take a risk on it. And they're playing it, and it's getting out there. We're getting it from east to west, It's playing out here in New York area. It's playing, across the country all the way to California. And I'm not so concerned about who is playing and who isn't. I remember an old format, especially in old school hip hop. You would hear a song and it would play on the radio, and if it caught your ear and you remember that song, you would never forget that song. And when you didn't hear that song anymore, subconsciously in the back of your mind, you thought, yeah, I wonder whatever happened to that song, what happened to that group.
Right.
And then all of a sudden the EP drops a year later, let's say 6 months later, or an album, and all of a sudden in that album you hear that one song that you've been hearing on the radio about 6 months to a year ago, and you say, oh, it's that band, it's those guys,
Right.
And I think it's a beautiful setup. I love that style of marketing. So I think it's going to work for good. There are those that are embracing it for sure. We're on specialty radio, a little bit of commercial, and the people are going to decide. If it's good music, the people are going to say, hey, this is what we want, and that's what we're looking for.
Very cool. We're talking with John Francis, the lead singer of the band Punx Harmonic. And now, if I'm not mistaken on this, your record label, Punk Hop Records, is actually you and Steven. Am I correct on that?
That's right. Yeah.
And that's really cool because obviously you're making music, but then also you're putting it out there too. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds a little bit, which I think most artists almost need to do in today's, music society. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, most definitely. I say anything that you can do yourself, do. And Steve and I, got together on this. We were very serious about it, and we were weighing the options opposed to, we've put the ball in other people's hands before, and when you do that, you kind of lose control. You got to be able to have that control, but also be able to have people that you can work with. So we decided from the door that we were going to create our own record label. We were going to create our own publishing company. We were going to cross all our T's, dot all our I's, make sure all our ducks were in a row, and so that we had a good foundation to build off of, so that when we came out with music, it would be ready for any kind of, if we were going to be registered with Nielsen or Billboard or anything like that, where radio spins are being played on the radio. We wanted to make sure that everything was in position and all the information was coming back, and that we could look at it ourselves and reassess and do things better the next time around. So we definitely decided to kind of be on the business end of it. I went to school for engineering and music production, but it's funny, I had maybe a half a day's class out of 6 months of music business, and I was very intrigued by the music business side of things. And that's where, Steve and I got together, and I said, this is what we need to do next. This is what we need to do next. And so it's a nice foundation to be able to, build off your own. And I would definitely recommend anybody in music to do the homework, find out what you need to do, and do everything you can yourself. And I think people take you more seriously that way as well, as opposed to thinking you're garage banding it.
Right. No, I agree. I think that's great advice for anybody, especially a lot of up and coming bands out there that are looking for that next direction. And obviously, I've talked to many bands over the years, and it takes a lot of hard work, though. It just doesn't come just like that, does it?
No, not at all. It's a pilgrimage, and if you love what you're doing, you'll continue to do it. Music has always been a part of my life. I can remember being a baby sitting in front of the stereo listening to, mom and dad's, 50s doo-wop stations, listening to, all kinds of music across the board, and if it's in your heart and it's what you want to do and you love what you're doing, you're going to do it regardless. But it definitely takes time, and time is a good thing because time builds character. Steve and I always talk about this. When it comes fast, we see what happens to a lot of people when it comes fast. It can be destructive, but you build it slowly, little by little, over time, patiently. When it does come, you're more protective of it. You realize what it cost you, and you may make different decisions in life when you get there than now than what you would have if it came, let's say a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. So time is a huge factor, and it definitely builds character. It gives you time to go through things, learn things, and I'm glad we're at this time right now. I think we're ready for it.
Awesome. We're talking with John, the lead singer of the band Punx Harmonic. I wanted to ask you this question too, because you get pigeonholed into certain genres of music, and what I've heard so far with your song Immaterial, it's nothing that I've heard on the radio very much played mainstream in that. I guess where do you think you guys should kind of be placed when it comes to radio, and kind of what genres, what formats?
It's so funny because that's another thing I say all the time. It's one thing about me, you can't pigeonhole me. You just can't do it. I've always been that way. I don't like to be pigeonholed. I don't like to be labeled.
Right.
I like to just be free. And I'll tell you, there was a guy out in California, Marshall Thomas, real nice guy, and they actually played us on K-Frog over there.
Really? Nice.
I mean, that's a country station. But, if you listen to the song and you're hearing that, she cried being called to the stand, the plaintiff holding up her right hand, it's like, okay, maybe we could lean a little country with this, And I've heard people just take little parts from it and say, you can almost play this on country. You can play this on pop. You can play this on rock. You can play this on alternative, or, and that, I love that. I think David Bowie was like that. You cannot pigeonhole the guy.
No.
One minute he's doing this, the next minute he's doing that, and then he's doing it all in the same song. You're like, whoa, what is this? So, I like to think that we can almost be played anywhere on any station. That's not all necessarily true, but there are parts and segments within our music where we just kind of go off the chart, and then it's like, okay, where's this going? So I like to think we're all John May. I can't really say that we are one, but
okay, cool.
I leave that to the listener.
Absolutely. Hey, this kind of leads into my next question, and this is a question I love to ask bands, artists, all that. And obviously, your song Immaterial, we're just going to use that as the cover. What artist would you like to cover Immaterial? So any music artist out there currently, let's just say, would you like to have playing your song Immaterial, doing it?
Wow. You put me on the spot now. I usually have an answer, and goodness gracious, who would I want to sing Immaterial? I don't know. You might have to help me out with this one.
I don't know. I'm just, I get all sorts of different responses. And, of course, I talk to a lot of active rock bands, some just general rock band. It just varies. And it's a lot of times they'll actually go outside their genre and maybe pick a pop artist or a country artist or something like that. But like that's why I kind of set you up with that question to see where you kind of fit yourself. And really you can go all over the place, I guess, with it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a collaboration of artists, because this part would be his, and that part would be hers, and this part, so... Well, you said
you'd mentioned country, I guess, so maybe a couple country artists could do this song. That'd be kind of...
Oh, you know what? Okay, I think I got an answer for you. Know who I think can do Immaterial? Charlie Daniels.
There you go. Ha ha!
Yeah. Maybe Charlie Daniels, the devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul steal. It's got that kind of, twangy kind of country,
I could hear it.
So,
I could hear it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. There we go. Now we just got to make that. How are we going to make that happen?
I don't know, man. We gotta get in touch with him.
You better get Tim on the phone and said, hey, Jay-Z up in Little Falls, Minnesota, that small little radio station said, we should have somebody cover this song. I got a perfect guy that can do it. Now, you make it happen, Tim.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, have you heard your song on the radio? I'm assuming you have. You said it's been in New York, correct?
Yeah, up in they're playing it, upstate New York. I've heard it on, out west. I've heard it, in Nevada. I've heard it in California. There's a place down in Idaho,
Okay.
Iowa. Different places. I have heard it on the radio. Yeah.
When you hear it, what does it mean when you hear your song on the radio to you?
You know what? I got to say this. When I hear it, when you hear the station identification, you hear the DJ on the radio and the commercials, and then you hear a song, and then you hear your song. It's just incredible. You feel like you're all on one stream, and you can hear the blending in, how it sounds, and it's just like, wow, that's my song. That's so cool, and more importantly, again, the message. We just kind of we want to wake people up to some things, and and just in hopes that they would see those unseen things that are hidden in plain sight, as they say, and so I guess more of the message. When we hear the message get out there, we say, okay, this is a great country, and many people have suffered and died for us to have the liberties and the freedoms we have today. And when you see some of the, you see the direction that it's going, it saddens you. But when you hear that one song on the radio, I've learned over time. I used to think, I forget the guy who said it, but he said something. He who thinks he can, that can only do little, is doing nothing, and if he thinks that, then he's foolish to think that. Well, I used to think that way. Unless I can do it all, it's not worth doing. Now, I hear my song on the radio, and I hear the message, and I think that's important. When the message gets out there and people hear it, what would you say if I was to say that all that you say is hearsay from now? What would you do with no burden of proof, and there's no longer truth but hearsay from now? When you get messages out like that, I think it's powerful. I think it can impact the generation, and it can cause us to go in a direction that's good. So, yeah, to hear your song on the radio, it's more than just like, wow, that's my song, but it's the meaning of the message that really excites me, I think, the most.
Awesome. We're talking with John from the band Punx Harmonic. Now, you mentioned back when we started the interview, obviously Immaterial is your song, and it's kind of like one of those songs, you remember, and then all of a sudden it kind of goes away, and then you get the EP or the album, and then, oh, yeah, that's that band. EP albums. What is the future for you guys? What are we looking at here?
Well, we are working on an EP, which eventually, we say like this, everything we do is a single for now, So
okay.
That's the way we like to work on music. We work on one song at a time. We put it out there like it's going to be a one-hit wonder, and they're never going to hear nothing from us again. And then we do that again on the next song. And we're working on an EP, which eventually will be, an album. And it's really edgy. Some of it's a little harder than the actual Immaterial song. And yeah, we just working on that and getting ready to get that out there. And we've talked with some people, and we are talking with some people to get out and play in bigger venues. And so we're just gearing up and getting it all together and getting ready for something that we want to do for the rest of our lives and give people good music.
Cool. Yeah, you just kind of led into my next question, touring in that, so that's in the works too here, I guess, right?
Yeah, we are in the talks with some people right now who we think would be a great asset to what we're doing, and hopefully we can say the same to what they're doing, and just getting out there. We were contemplating and talking about going abroad overseas. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how that pans out. Right now, we're just working on this album and trying to figure out, what the next move is going to be as far as touring, if it's just going to be here, abroad, or both.
The band is Punx Harmonic, and we're talking with John. And John, how can fans find out more information and get your music here about Punx Harmonic?
Yeah, they can check us out. We have the punxharmonic.com page. We have a Punx Harmonic Facebook page. We're on iTunes. We're on, I believe, CD Baby. I forget the others right now. I'm thinking Amazon for some reason, but definitely iTunes. You can find us on there, the song and material. And if you guys, you listen to it, you like it, please support it, buy it, listen to it, tell your friends about it. iTunes.
Awesome. We're going to promote it right now. Again, your latest song, Immaterial. And John, thanks so much for joining me, and good luck to you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Jay.
Well, once again, that is John Francis, the lead singer of the band Punx Harmonic. Here is their latest song. It's called Immaterial. It's on The Dark. It's on FM 94.